People, thanks for joining me. I'm Scott. Welcome back to my channel. And this is Donna. And Donna is going to get a clear gloss finish on the top. These Les Paul tributes don't come with a clear, glossy finish, just a real thin satin. And I want to put a nice, deep, glossy finish on here without poisoning myself and the entire family with aerosols of toxic lacquer. I'm going to use an all-natural product called Shellac, and I'm going to apply it by hand with a method called French polish, which I learned a little more in detail from watching Dan Earlywine and later Doug Proper from the Luth Group. But first, I want to give you an update on the Martin Aura that had those orange strap stains all over it. We'll take a look at that. They had that suede orange strap that left them stains when they left it in the case and all that. Did a video a few months back, and I took that right down to bare wood. The video I did was mostly about this area, but it was all on the back, and I finished that with a French polish. I did this area with French polish, and I also did the inside cutaway here with the French polish. I French polished the top, but I decided to go a little extra on the top since this is what you look at most of the time. I masked off the bridge and sound hole, and I sprayed a couple coats of this flat Ultra Flow. Same stuff that I used in that Gibson that had a big hole on the side. But I didn't leave it after I sprayed it. I didn't leave it all flat looking. I actually went and I wet sanded and buffed it out on the StewMac guitar buffer. So it buffed out really nice. I didn't start my wet sanding with 600 like I normally would on like a new build or whatever. I started with 1000. I did 1200, 1500, 2000, and the Trizac. And then I just took it down to the buffer and hit it on both wheels, the medium and the fine compound, the two different wheels. And man, this guitar, I never played it for you, but it's a good sounding guitar. It's an expensive guitar too. Here are the basics here. I was just using like any old linen material before I learned on the Luth Group from Doug Proper's 3-part French polish that he likes to use muslin. So I bought some of this. It comes in a yard I bought it off eBay, super cheap. And then gauze pads, you can get these anywhere. You can get them at the drugstore, pharmacy, whatever. Make you a little pad like so, and you'll need some shellac flakes, denatured alcohol or 100% grain alcohol. I use denatured. Mineral oil, pure mineral oil. You don't want any kind of scented weird stuff, but you can use baby oil. That's what Doug uses. Your shellac flakes, when you get them off eBay, Amazon, or you can buy them from StewMac. You can also get them from some other places like shellac.net, and they'll always come with mixing instructions. So you might need a scale, but what I've done for a long time is just mix up like 1 small cup of flakes with 5 parts denatured, and I mix them up in a like a mason jar, and transfer them into a little bottle. Hot sauce bottle is what I prefer because it has a smaller neck, and I can transfer it from here into something a little smaller, and you'll see that. The next argument I'd like to make for a shellac finish is that it saves time. It saves me time. If I were to spray lacquer, and it saves materials. If you were spraying lacquer you'd end up spraying on, say you sprayed 9 coats, and you build up an orange peel over the course of 3-4 days. You build up all this orange peel, and you got 9 coats of lacquer on here, and you wait for it to cure for a couple weeks, and then you end up removing more than half of it, volume, wet sanding it smooth, getting out the orange peel. So all that time spent and all that spraying done just to remove it all, or 50% of it. This way, every bit of shellac that I put on here, except for just a skosh, maybe a fragment, 10%, will stay on here. Okay. Boy, check this one out. This one's like a 74 Hummingbird. It needed a neck reset. The top had come unglued from the neck block, and there's a huge crack right here. So anyways, the neck block had kind of moved around and the bridge was loose. So I got the bridge back on, took the neck off. It's one of these weird Gibsons that has a non-tapered dovetail. The non-tapered dovetail's a real weird one. Also, you'll notice there's a dowel right here. Someone had ran a giant machine bolt through the heel. They drilled a big hole over 1/2 inch diameter and ran this big old machine bolt through the neck block, and there was a nut and a washer on the inside. So it took me a while to dig that out. That was not cool, but for some odd reason I think it was done at the factory, because this part of the heel was like cracked off. It was completely glued back on, and it's so weird. The neck had never been reset or taken off before. It was like factory, but it was broken all the way through and repaired. So I might have to do a video on this one. Anyways, man, that's a pretty nice fit right there. Oh man, look at that. So I've got my muslin sheet. I've got a little bit of gauze here. Ooh, these scissors are bad. Anyways, I'm gonna make me a little pad. A little ball of gauze. A little wrap of muslin fabric. You can use cotton like a t-shirt if you want, but it doesn't spread as evenly and as nicely as this muslin stuff. Also, the muslin stuff will start to get weird after a while, after it gets loaded up. You can always, I'm constantly remaking a pad. Like every week I'll make a new pad. All right, that's a good looking pad. I usually keep it in a jar. I like these Better Than Bouillon jars. That is good stuff, man. If you need to make some brown gravy, get you some Better Than Bouillon beef. Okay, denatured alcohol and shellac and a piece of paper. I use envelopes that come in the mail. I'm going to use this envelope right here. And by the way, Gibson, thank you so much for doing this quick disconnect stuff on the pickups and components. That makes for a very pleasant circuit. Very pleasant circuit demantling. Alright, it's a wet pad, not too wet. Let's take it over to the instrument and wipe some on. So yeah, it seems like those quick disconnects would be a nice for if you want to swap out your pickups. Like if you were a heavy metal guy and you got one of these, I would highly recommend the 500T Super Ceramic in the bridge. That pickup is the most raunchy, well, not raunchy, but just rip your head off, shred, killer chainsaw tone that I've ever heard in a heavy metal pickup. And my own opinion on that was formed because I had this Flying V that had that pickup, and I didn't really get the full grip of how heavy that pickup was till I was playing with the drummer and the band and stuff at higher volumes. It just has so much power and punch. The ones that came in this guitar are the 490. Kind of wimpy, you know, kind of plain Jane pickups, I don't know. Okay, the one thing about French polishing is that when you apply it, you don't drop the pad down. You come in like an airplane, okay? You're taking off and you're landing. Landing, taking off. When you're doing circles, you want to come in. And you don't want to go over the area you just circled on. Like if I did a circle pattern here, I'll give that a couple seconds to dry. I'll do another circle pattern down here. And then I'll work my way off the piece. It's best to give it a little while to dry, you know, in between. Not long, 15, 20, 30 seconds. There is this area here, I'd like to address this right away, that this round pad can't get right into the corner of the neck. So let's zoom in and work on that area first. This area right here in this corner, we got to get in there. So what I'm doing is I'm folding up paper towel. This is the cheap stuff. You know, you can get the 99-cent roll from the Dollar General, or you can use, you know, Bounty, I guess, but just make sure it's not Viva or the Scott Blue stuff that is more like a linen. I'm going to add the 2-pound cut directly to this paper towel, and I'm going to come in here and wipe it across that corner. That was a good wipe. You might not see the reflection from here, but you can see a wet kind of look there from certain angles. I'm going to give it another wipe. Yeah. I'm going to do the same thing over here on the bass side of the guitar. And I'm probably going to do that every day while I do this. I'm going to come in and spend a couple seconds around this fretboard extension, getting some shellac in the corner, building it up. I could actually do that with a brush too. I'll show you both ways. But this actually works real good. And I'm happy to say that I'm doing right now about 80% of the jobs that I've scheduled for finish repairs, I'm wiping on the finishes now. Whether it's glue boost, shellac, or wipe on poly. And that's good. That's saved me a lot of time going up and down the stairs, going out to the garage, making, you know, dealing with the temperature, humidity, ventilation, electricity, air compressors, toxic chemicals, protective gear, so forth and such. Okay, I'm going to recharge my pad. I'm going to recheck the wetness of the pad. Doesn't look too bad. And I'm going to wipey wipe. So now that I'm working right next to my main bench, putting on finishes, non-toxic, it's exactly what I always wanted to do. Find an environmentally friendly way to do art. Remember Bob Ross? He was working with oil paints, and his son tends to think it was that paint thinner that caused his cancer. Working indoors in a studio with all that toxic stuff. I like to apply for 3 or 4 days. That was mineral oil on the pad. That thing I just put on there is mineral oil. A little more shellac. Firm, but, you know, light pressure. We'll end this session now. I'm going to hang the guitar on the wall and go work on something else for an hour, and I'll come back to this in an hour and do another 10-minute session. We'll do 3 of those today, 3 tomorrow, and on the 3rd day we will change things up a little bit. So there it is. We'll let it hang here for an hour while we get started on another one. And I think the one we'll get started on next is this one. 1966 LG1 Gibson. Alright, here we are. It's the next day. Things are starting to look good. I hit it this morning. I hit it with this gray Scotch-Brite pad to kind of knock off. This guitar had a little orange peel right on it from the factory. And I'm hopefully going to get rid of that. I usually come in every session and I drop on like 3-4 drops of denatured alcohol and a good syringe full of shellac. I want to correct something I said yesterday about doing 3 coats a day. You can do as many coats as you want with shellac per day. You don't have to just do 3 coats like you would with nitro. You can, I didn't even count how many I did yesterday. I probably did 9 or 10 coats. They're real thin coats, but still. That's a lot of coats for one day. I can come in here and do some circles. Those aren't the greatest circles I've ever seen. But who's judging? I guess the customer's judging. Give you a different angle as I go. There's a huge difference from the first day to the second day. Like, first day it looks super streaky, and by the second day it starts to look like really smooth. So if you took a 1-day class on this, you probably wouldn't get the full effect. You might kind of be like, I'm not too sure I like the way this stuff looks after 1 day. It really takes effect after the second and third day. And do this for 5-10 minutes, and then you hang it up on the wall and work on something else. Come back in an hour, do it again. I also told you yesterday I was going to show you how I might brush the shellac into that fretboard extension, that little corner there. I'm going to brush it around all 3 sides. Yeah, so a couple times a day I'll come in and do this. And then I clean the brush off with denatured alcohol. Alright. Here we are, day 3. And I've already hit it with those Scotch-Brite pad and put on about 5 coats of regular shellac. Now I got a brand new pad. I'm gonna charge it up with some shellac that's been mixed with sanderac and mastic. It has a good smell to it. It's a little different. It's just something I do on the 3rd day, and I'll probably get into doing a whole bunch of other interesting things that are going to be hard to describe, so I'll just, and probably be pretty boring to the average person, but I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing. And oh, that's nice. This is kind of a hardener. It hardens it forms a nice hard surface, harder than the other stuff. It's going on nice. I have to mention I'm using a different type of oil now. I switched from mineral oil to walnut oil. So this is a drying oil that'll help harden over the next couple days. Much harder than the mineral oil version of application. believe it or not, it's actually been a couple days, and all the oil has come up to the top, as you can see me smearing it around. And in the olden days, they used to take the alcohol on a towel and kind of lift it off there and get the oil to absorb up into the towel. But since these are modern times, and we have naphtha and mineral spirits, I'm going to start with the mineral spirits, and I'm going to put it on this Scotch-Brite pad. This is the white pad. This is the finest pad. I noticed these over at Lowe's yesterday. They sell a 3-pack for like $6. And that should get the oil, well, we'll start to get the oil up. We'll do mineral spirits with the abrasive pad, and then we'll do straight naphtha with a paper towel, or we'll do a regular towel. I think a regular towel, I don't know, this paper towel looks like it's cleaning up nice. What the heck? Let's keep going. Kind of waking up that oil, moving it around, getting it onto this towel. This is cool. Probably won't get 100% of the oil, but so far so good. I think there's a little bit left. And this time I'll use a big old bath towel. Whoa, she's slip sliding away. Now, let's get some of this. This is a Viva paper towel. We'll take a little naphtha. We'll get up the rest of that oil. And then we'll take her down to the buffer and get her all buffed up nice. Well, she already looks really nice. Let's go down to the garage. The garage. We'll get the buffer out. And by the way, when I was over at Lowe's yesterday looking at those synthetic steel wool pads, the white pad, they actually have it marketed under the 3M name. The maroon, gray, and white that I have, I bought off of StewMac, and I believe that to be Scotch-Brite. But the pad I was using was cut down. The 3-pack that I was talking about, the size of those 3-packs is much bigger than that piece of white that I was just using. I cut that piece of white from a bigger piece just because I didn't need a whole piece. Anyways, using that pad, you'll notice I kind of scuffed it up. I kind of dulled the finish. And sometimes that's what we need to do. We need to take like one step back so that we can move 2 or 3 steps forward. And we're going to move 2 or 3 steps forward, 1 or 2 steps forward with these 2 buffing wheels today. And then we'll let it, this buffing wheel heats up the finish a little bit. It'll be a little warm to the touch. And as soon as it cools back down to room temperature, I'll be able to apply some more different buffing compounds by hand. I could use different polishes. I could use the Ultimate Compound auto body stuff. That works real good. So we'll finish buffing down here, and then we'll take it up and hit it with a couple more automotive compounds on a pad, and it should start to look really nice. I can even add some wax when we're all done with those. So I'm moving on to the fine wheel. The 2 wheels are actually a different type of material, different type of fabric. One of them's called Canton, and the other one's called something with a D. Can't remember. I think the rougher one. I wish I could remember the softer one. what the name of it is. I think they're both made of some type of cotton. We're gonna buff that wheel. Keep it moving. Don't want to stay on one spot for too long. You'll buff it right off the guitar. Here comes the cat with a mouse. Oh good, no mouse. Anyways, the white buff, the finer one, is called Dominant. So you got the coarse is a kind of a reddish compound, and that one's Canton, like the city in Ohio where the Football Hall of Fame is, Canton, Ohio. And the white wheel is Dominant. Let's take it up and hit it with some Maguires. Look at that. Okay, you got to be kind of be careful here. I've had bad luck with this one. Doug Proper uses this one. I have not had good luck with that. I've had good luck with this one as my first application, and then this one as the last. Well, I won't say last, I'll say last before waxing. So I usually wax last. Look at this stuff. Let's give this a try. This is Maguire's Ultimate Compound. Let's see what that did. Damn. Well, I don't think you can get any better than that. Holy moly's, that looks good. That's what I'm going to do then. I'm just going to do that same thing to the entire top. And, whew, that looks nice. And for the wax, we do the carnuba. Carnuba on your booba. Carnuba on your booba. I like a little carnuba on my guitars. Carnuba on your git fiddle. This is a git fiddle. Too shabby for a tribute.